This is a Halfords 2-ton low-profile trolley jack, and in today's video I'm going to show you some of the common issues with this jack and how to purge the air out of it and fill it back up with oil. Let's get to it. So this is one of 3 jacks that I own, but this is the one I use most of all, and the reason I use that most of all is because it's low profile, can get under any car, and it's also got this swivel arrangement here where the handle can be engaged and you can use it in any way. It's a little slow to go up, but I think that's inherent in the design. But the problem I'm having with this jack at the moment is simply that it won't hold a car up for very long. Just before starting this bit of filming, I lined up the camera to show this Alpina behind me jacked up, and after about an hour it was back down on the ground. So the wheel was off the ground, and within an hour that had sunk down, so it was back to where it started. So clearly there's pressure not being held in the arm lift, and that could be one of 2 things, and this might be a common problem. If it were leaking, if there was a leak somewhere and the pressure was reducing, then you'd expect that behaviour. But what I don't have is any oil anywhere. It's dusty and dirty, but there is no oil around this jack, so no oil has leaked out. So it may be that there is some air in the system which I need to purge out, and that is what I'm going to show you now. So the process for doing that is nice and simple. What we do is we tighten up the valve, the release valve here, nice and tight, and then we get the jack to full operating height. And there we go. So now at full height, all we do is then lift this cover off. Just comes off nice and easily. I've never taken this jack apart, so it's very dusty in there. And using a pair of pliers, we'll remove this bung. There's a bung here. Just pull that out. There we go. And then it's just a case of letting the arm fall down, and that will purge the air out of the system. Now, having said that there is no oil around this jack, having lifted the cover, it's clear to see that there is some oil. And unfortunately, it looks like it's coming out of one of these seals. Let me grab the camera and I'll show you. So it shows up really nicely on camera. We can see this area here looks a lot darker and is therefore, I'm assuming, wet from oil. And given the direction it's heading, it appears to be coming from this, what I imagine is this master seal here. So I think therefore this is definitely going to need some oil, and the good news is that I've got a little bottle of jack oil ready to go in, so let's show you how to do that. So here's my bottle of oil, very cheap, bought from Euro Car Parts here in the UK. And what I've also got here is a syringe, so I can, rather than trying to pour this oil in using a funnel, I can just syringe it out. Those of you who are keen cyclists may recognise this syringe. This is the syringe for bleeding hydraulic brakes on your mountain bike. So I don't know how much I need to put in, but there I've got a full syringe of oil, and then with that hole still open I can then just top this up. Right, and there we go, that's now come out. So that's a syringe and a half. No idea what the capacity of this syringe is, but a couple of 100 ml maybe. Just going to give that a quick clean up before I do it again. So having done that, I think the sensible thing now to do would be to redo the air purge process. So as before, we just lock off this, pump it up to height, and there we go. It's also worth noting that feels like it's gone a little bit higher than last time. So if I release that now, this should purge all of the air out. again, see if there's any room left for any additional oil. Looks like we might get just a little bit more oil in there, so let's do that now. There it goes. And one more purge of air just to be sure. Yeah, and then I can see the meniscus there at the top, so that oil is right on the level. Just going to clean this bung up, make sure no dirt gets it back in. Using the pliers. Easier said than done, this one. And there we go in. That was a little harder than I think it should have been. Clean everything up again. Like that. So that's our jack working properly, hopefully, fingers crossed. One other thing with this jack I've noticed as well is that you have a tendency you can overstretch this and this clip pops off here like that. And that's really infuriating when you're in the middle of a job. So I'm also going to just tweak that. Again, if you're suffering with this, it's a lovely simple fix. Just need a pair of pliers like these, or maybe some a bit wider. Just squeeze that together ever so slightly. So that when it fits over it, it really clamps down. And then hopefully that will stay on there. Oh, and that actually feels a lot nicer now. Needs to be going up a little more. The proof, of course, will be in using it. I've got a job to do on the Audi on the rear brake, so I'll be using this over the weekend. So I'll give it a try and report. So there we go, guys. That's how to purge the air and fill up the oil on your Halfords 2-ton low-profile trolley jack. And given the amount of oil gone in, I'm confident that will have fixed it. As always, thank you ever so much for watching. Do let me know if you've got any comments. Do hit like if you enjoyed this video. And if you like this kind of content, please do consider subscribing. It really helps the channel. Thanks as always, and I look forward to coming to you in a new video very soon. Cheers and goodbye.